Good afternoon, good evening. Hi, it's me again. So tell a friend to tell a friend. As you can tell, I'm in an amazing mood this morning. I'm in an amazing mood this morning. Slow down, girl. You get it. You good. Anyway, it's the 6th of June. It's a Thursday. It's a Jupiter day. It's one of those vibing days. We like it. We love it. We are here for it. And I, as always, had a conversation, but I also did a thing. Now, a thing is where you tinker and you research, typically mixed in with ChatGPT, or just AI support within that spectrum. And I do those two things quite a lot. I do a thing and I have conversations. But either way, yesterday when I was doing a thing and having conversations, I had a revelation. And that's what today is about, by the way. I was looking into Vedic astrology. And as always, we have this favorite topic of who is our long lost love, our soul partner, our divine counterpart. And it sparked my interest that pairing your soul image, your twin flame, your soul twin, right? That mirroring, that other person who reflects you in completion in a different body. And it had me thinking like, in astrology, how is that shown? But also, how in real life do we see that? How do we hear the echoes of our Marco Polos? And what does that change, not only for us, but everyone else around us? Anyways, for me, I found that there was a lot of confirmations that were happening, especially the people in my life. I compared and I did synergy charts between mine and people I do know, with consent, obviously. And it warmed my heart in ways. Let me break it down. So in Vedic, my Dharma, I can't pronounce it, sorry. But basically the placement that speaks about soulmates, about that relationship, aka like the 7th house basically. Mine in Vedic is in Saturn. And while there's some negative connotations about Saturn, about it being very kind of structured, serious, that's all it is kind of behavior. I also opened my eyes up to the style of people that I enjoy in my life. The style of people that show up in my life and what they bring to me. Now, Saturn is about structure. It's about doing it on a almost serious note. And I can be very Peter Pan about life. Kind of just winging it and stuff. So I can see that balance, that mirroring, where I will not only find what is within me, but also have it reflected back to me, the things I still need, the things I can adjust and change. And having a partner, or being told I have a partner who is more detail orientated, he's more almost serious, right? I bring the childishness, I bring the joy, I bring the fun and bubbliness, but he also brings the groundingness, he also brings that seriousness, right? This is what my Vedic chart was showing back to me. But it was also when I looked at friends and other people in my life, I have a green witch in my life, which honestly I adore her. She, as it was put to me, was a soul twin sister, meaning that the journeys and lessons she's learned in her life were important for me not only to witness and understand, but also learn from as well, and vice versa for her, the things that have happened in my life. I have also got a empathic warlock in my life too, and the things he's going through actually give me an insight to what my counterpart is going through. So it's not only just female to female kind of energy, but also male to female or male to male. There's constantly mirrors within our lives that constantly show us aspects of ourselves in various different ways that we don't always clock onto. And this is why I believe conversations are transformational. I was mentioning yesterday for me that I recognized patterns within myself of suppression when it came to my voice. Was I overthinking, those little gremlins coming back into my head? And as always, I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to keep it in my head. I'm going to speak this out loud, and I'm going to have a conversation about it and let it be known. So I spoke with my green witch, which was the situation where that intrusive thought came up in. And it was, again, healing. Because I didn't even realize for her that she felt she was doing something wrong. So we were both mirroring that intrusive thought due to our reactional, almost like if you step on a nail, you move your hand kind of like ouch before you even feel the pain type of behavior, but your brain just kind of registers there's pain before you actually feel it. It's that type of behavior where we both read from each other that, maybe we should step back, that I've done something wrong, because we've had that type of trauma in our lives. Again, that mirroring. It's amazing how many people in our lives, both subtly, intensively, but just in passing, will show us so much of ourselves that we can be aware of, that we can change and rearrange. Hi, if you have anything to say, I'm willing to hear it too. Let's have a conversation. I really do. Where was I? Yes, mirroring. And it lit me up to realize that I am now consciously in a space to be aware of those things. The conversation reminded me of a quote my grandfather used to say a lot when he was alive. He used to always say as partners, never go to bed angry. Always make sure that before you put your head on the pillow, you had said and let out everything you wanted in the day. Never go to bed with residual kind of energy in your mind or in your body. And I always used to think of it as just, you tell them you love them and you have that, intimate moment before you sleep because, hey, you don't know if you wake up in the morning. But I'm also understanding it in the way of not only just romantic, but platonic relationships, just with everyone. When you're still carrying those intrusive thoughts, those nagging feelings, right? And you're not addressing them, and they're just sitting there being swept under the rug, it piles up. And then now you can't sleep. Now you're dysregulated. Now you're hidden from your own authenticity, your own softness. And I'm like, okay, so not only with my romantic partner do I need to make sure I'm going to bed fully open and emptied with him, but also my friendships. I need to make sure that I don't ever feel like I can't speak to them, I can't have that closeness with them, or there has to be a line. Don't get it twisted. Boundaries are necessary, but the type of boundaries and why they're there should always be reviewed and re-understood, because you're always evolving, you're always rearranging, not only within yourself but the people around you. Someone you've known today could still be the same person 10 years later. Now, you're not going to treat them like you did on day one, obviously, because now you've had lessons in between that where it allows you to review with each other. And vice versa, there are people who you've known for 10 years that you don't even speak to anymore. And that has to be rearranged in itself. But that doesn't mean they don't still show you a part of yourself. And maybe even in the fact that they're no longer in your physical field means they have nothing left of you in your current space to reflect back to you. You guys aren't a mirror match anymore. Again, the people in your consciousness, in your surrounding reality, are showing you something about you in one way or another. And it was amazing. It was amazing to go into Verdict astrology and have that explained to me in a different vice, in a different way, and how that correlates even to just my soul purpose, my soul mission, what I feel I should be, could be, what I'm passionate about, what others need from me. And funny enough, it's using my voice. The one thing I felt, was my biggest flaw, was my biggest weakness, is actually my greatest strength. Being able to vocalize what I think, how I've analyzed and perceived something, is medicine, not only to myself but others. And that was verified in a lot of ways that I needed to hear. It needed to be mirrored back at me. And I've had people tell me, thank you for that. I really needed that chat. But it never really sank in the way it did yesterday when I looked at it, that it's really written in the stars for me to be that type of person. That is my gift. And even if someone takes it on negatively, that's not only necessarily me. I'm a mirror just as much as someone is a mirror for me. And that is in both a positive and negative light. What I'm lacking will also be shown to me just as much as the things I've let go and where I currently am, because there's always something changing. And that makes me so giddy. It makes me giddy to know that I'm on the right track. It makes me, actually proud of myself for removing these fears, for deconstructing all of these false narratives in my head and truly looking at life not through a tinted lens. I've got Sagittarius in the 8th house. So when it comes to knowledge and logical knowledge of the hidden arts, of those hidden psyches, for me, it makes the most sense. In a world where we're kind of built to be emotionally logic, which I personally feel is a very big oxymoron. It's like I've either got head or I've either got heart type of thing, and you can't have both of them at the same time. I'm truly learning what the authentic meaning of having head and heart truly is. To be able to feel excited and logically know that that's the right path, that intuition, that shall I do this, is in line with the practicality of this world as well as my internal kind of feeling of it. I'm just rambling out loud, but it really is that for me right now. I'm going to definitely deep dive a lot deeper into Vedic astrology. I feel like compared to Western astrology that I've been trying to wrap my head around, it's worded in a way that's a bit more direct. It's a bit more simplified. And it's either your highest point or your lowest point. It's going to show you, it gives you a more realistic rounding. And maybe with ChatGPT, the way it's structured out, it's allowed to logically give you the facts of it better. It's not as much of an interpretation and maybe if could be, which is great. It is. And I'm proud of myself to have taken steps and behavioral patterns that I typically wouldn't have before. I would have bottled up that insecurity of mine that, I feel like I've done something wrong. I feel like I've spoken too much. I should have not taken over a conversation like that. To learn that no, I didn't. In fact, she was learning so much. Her mind was expanding. She truly was engaged in a conversation. And that me abruptly shutting down actually made her feel like she had done something wrong. That I didn't want to speak to her, and that was going to create a gap that I never wanted in the first place. And I could have ended up in a situation where I'm now thinking, why are we more distant than we should have? Simply because I didn't speak up in the moment that I should have. And now I am. I'm facing those old patterns and creating new ones. And that's being reflected back into me with more depth of relationships, with more vulnerability within myself to know and be okay with it. Be okay with the fact that those intrusive thoughts are going to come off as if they're real. And I can challenge that with compassion, with love, and go back and center to who I know I want to be, have been in my core. I know I'm not someone that is hated. In my core, I know that. I know I'm not someone who is just a nuisance to the world. I know that these were negative impressions put on me, and in reflecting and in sitting with myself, be it 5 seconds or 10 minutes, and going, yo, how are you today? What have you been thinking? How have you been feeling? And how much of it was just a mirage within your mind? Will always allow me to come back to my authentic sound. And I can be excited again. I can feel free because I'm not only cultivating relationships with others, I'm cultivating relationships with myself. When I know me, I can explain that to someone else. I can express that to someone else with clarity and vice versa. So yeah, on the 6th of June, where Venus continues to be in Taurus, and we have Saturn in Pisces, yeah, and we've got a whole lot of purge the old, embrace the new type of energy this week. And especially on this Jupiter day where we are going to expand in the happy-go-lucky feeling. Oh, and Jupiter is also about, our beliefs, our values and things. So reflect on it. Look at the mirrors around you and ask yourself, hey, are they showing me who I want to be? Because that could literally be as simple as who we're watching on social media. Are they showing me who I currently am and what I believe my core values are? And that can be as simple as our children around us and their behavior and their interaction with other people, or our siblings, our parents, right? Our friends. Or are they showing me a hidden thing we've put, or feeling insecurity that we've put to the back? And that could be as simple as an angry person on the bus. Nothing shows in our reality without reason and rhyme. It's one of the three, and three all in one. What are my mirrors showing me? And how can I change the world by choosing my softness first? How can I not only shift the mirrors around me so that they're showing more authentically of who I am and who I'm showing out into the world, but also transform those mirrors that were singing old songs of me into the new ones? Because if I can shift and change, again, I'm a mirror to someone else just as much as they are for me. They can as well. Because we look at everyone around us and we say, hey, I want to be like that. They inspired us to change something, and you will inspire someone else to change something. And like that, we've just changed the world. Okay, that's my reflection and my rambling for today. Thank you for joining me on this live. I really appreciate it. I am going to be celebrating because this is amazing for me in various ways. I do appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. And let's get it. Let's be able to see ourselves in others and others in us in a healthy way. Right? I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, bye.